Hello everybody. So recently I just set up an account in Amazon for the EC2 server. And I think it's time for me to share like a step-by-step guide of how to set up an EC2 server, especially how to SSH to connect into this remote machine. So here, besides just creating an instance in EC2, I will also show you how to host a JupyterLab server and also like how you can easily connect to the EC2 servers using the VSCode. So let's get started. We log into the AWS website, and the first thing you do, of course, is to sign up for the AWS. So basically, there are 5 steps for the setup. The first step, you can input your desired email address and also the passwords you want for AWS. So for the second step, you just need basic information about your address. For the third step, you need to provide your debit or credit card information. Maybe like the AWS would charge you like 1 cent, something like that, to make sure that they have the way to get you pay. So this is just how it works. The first step, you need to provide a phone number. And finally, we can choose a support plan. So the support plan, you have 3 options. So let's choose the basic support for free. So after the 5 steps, we conclude with this page. Congratulations, you just sign up your account. After signing up, at the sign up page, we can just sign in to the AWS by this button below. You can create some other roles below your account. So this is called the IAM user. But for now, since we just signed up, we need to sign in using the root user email. Here, you just provide the email address and the password. So you can always click on the service button on the top left and click on all services. Here, you have all the Amazon services, like hundreds of services, but we only care about the EC2, so we click on that, and here comes a dashboard. The dashboard, it has all the information about the EC2 service. We want to launch an instance. That is just a create an instance, so we click this button. Before that, you need to make sure you choose the correct location of the physical server. You need to choose the location that is close to you, as close as possible. If you choose a faraway place, there's a high delay when you're visiting the server, and also if you later want to change to another location, it will be very inconvenient, and the data transfer cost, is just high, so you want to choose one location as close as possible to you. So after that, we hit the launch. My server name, you can choose it whatever you want. Here I choose my Linux server. And here you need to choose an OS operating system. I also choose Ubuntu, so my favorite one for the server. Specifically, I choose the 2404 long-term service version, and the architecture for me is just x86. You also need to choose the instance type. Here I choose t2.micro. So this is a free tier eligible. So all the other ones are not a free tier, so you should choose this one for now. Since we need to log into the system, we need to create some special key pair. So we just click on the create new key pair. Here, I just name it to something I want, for example, AWS Linux server, and the key pair type is RSA for the encryption. The file format I want is a .pem. So this is what I want. And after the setups, I just click the create key pair, and the website will just download the key, my private key, to me. And of course, you need to keep the file for you to use later. Before we launch the instance, we also need some network settings. Just click on the allow SSH traffic because this is what we want. That's what we keep here doing. Also remember to click on the next two options because that's how we can host a server. Finally, we need to configure the storage. Here you got a maximum of 30 gigabytes for the storage, so you just choose the 30 gigabytes. On the right hand side, you can see a summary showing all the status, all the configurations of the server. So after double check, you can just hit launch instance. And here we go. Without waiting for like 2 to 4 minutes, the server will be set up and ready to go. We can also like click on the services recently visited, and here you can click on the EC2, and we got back into the dashboard for the EC2. You see that there is an instance running here, so we can click on it and we can see a table like listing all the services that is running. So since we only have one and we only care about this one, we click on the instance ID. And within the instance ID, you can see a more detailed summary of the server. And here you need to click on the connect button. So here it comes like different options, different ways for you to connect. So for now, we just use the EC2 instance connect, and we can just hit connect. And here you go. You can visualize your terminal, command terminal of the server on this web page. Above here is some basic information about this machine. Moreover, you can just type in commands down below. When you are done, you can just close this tab, close this website. And another way, as we said, is the SSH client. So we click on the third tab. Here is a very detailed description of how you can connect to the machine using the SSH. You can choose whatever command line tools you want. For example, for Mac, the terminal, and for Windows, the PowerShell. So basically here I just change directory to my downloads. So the first thing I do is to change the accessibility of the file for security reasons. And the second thing is all the command is just copied from here. You can click on the rectangle icon to just copy the command, and this SSH command will just establish a connection between your machine and the AWS server. And after you type in yes here, you just create your connection using the SSH, and you can type commands down below. For example, here I want to pwd to print working directory now, so it's in the home Ubuntu, so the username is Ubuntu, and after you are done, you can also tap exit to log out. And here let's just log in again. We do some basic updates, the sudo app update and the sudo apt-get updates. So in a Linux machine, this is also how you can update the package information. And if you know some basic Linux command, we can just clear the screen anytime by typing this clear. So here we want to install the latest Python version in our remote machine. So we just run this command, sudo apt-get install python 3 -vim. So every time the machine asks you want to continue, and here you should probably type a big letter Y and hit enter to continue. And here we go. After we install the Python, you can just type here the Python 3. As you can see, we entered a Python command lines. You can just type in some Python program here. And after we got the latest Python version, I think it's time for us to create a virtual environment, which is very good for developers because the environment is isolated from the system. So we can use this command, python 3 -m vim, to create a virtual environment within the folder. And as you can see here, if I type a list command, here is a vim folder. So I think we just install the vim. To just get into this virtual environment, we need to use this command, source vim bin activate. After we run the command, you can see a brackets on the left hand side of your command line 2 says vim. which means we got into this Python environment. And we want to pip install our JupyterLab. So it won't take a long time for you to install it. And after that, you just type JupyterLab password, because you want to set up a password only you know. And finally, to run the server, you just type this JupyterLab command to run the server. And we choose the internet port of 8080. And after that, you can just close your terminal window, because the JupyterLab server will continue to run in your server, and you don't need to care about that. So before we can connect to the JupyterLab, we need to set up something about the network on the AWS. So here you choose the instance ID for this server, and let's choose the security and click on the security groups. This is like some AWS firewall, and we need to expose the port that was 8080 to the internet. So basically we need to edit the inbound rules by clicking this button. And we just add a rule. It's a custom CTP type with a port of 8080. You can either change anything, or if you are not changing your IP so much, you can choose your IP. You can see here I choose my IP, and you can click the save rules to save the new rules. Okay, so after that, you can just type in this website with a public IP. You can find it on AWS. So here's my public IP with a colon 8080. That is our portal, and the slash of a lab, so we can log into the JupyterLab. After typing in the password, you just log into the JupyterLab. So here you can see there's a vim folder. That probably means we just log into the machine using the JupyterLab. So finally, let me tell you how to shut down the server. So you can just type a JupyterLab list to see the current situation of the running servers. And if we want to stop, we just type in JupyterLab stop, and it will just stop. Another way you can write code in the server is by using Visual Studio Code, the VSCode. So here, Microsoft provides a third-party tool called Remote SSH, and you can just enable it and run it. Then we can try to SSH in the VS Code, which is very convenient. So after you enable the remote SSH, you can click on the bottom left button, the blue one, and we can get into some command lines on up middle. Here you need to click on add new SSH host, and we can go back to the website to copy paste the previous SSH command to this place. And I would strongly recommend you to click on the config SSH hosts because for me, I have a multiple GitHub account, so my configure file looks like this. It's under the .ssh folder, the hidden folder. There's a config file. I have a different SSH keys for different websites or different accounts. So we can just copy the .pem file to this SSH folder, and then I also change the identity file, this one, to the current new location. The config file is very convenient for multiple accounts. After you click on the blue button again, you can see that now we have a new option just to connect to the remote server, and let's click on it. So you can see the bottom left, the information changed. We are SSH into something, and you can also click on the file to see that we indeed actually just got into the system. And of course, if you are familiar with this, you can also click on the little cross button here down left, and this brings you to all of the things like the terminal, which is really good, and you can also type commands over there. Of course, in the old days, they don't have tools like that. People use something like a VI or Vim. to remotely write code, but nowadays we have VS Code, so I think this is just convenient. And finally, remember that when you don't want to use the instance, you need to close it. You click on the running instances here, and in the instance state, you have different options. You can just stop it, terminate it, or sometimes you want to reboot it. So for now, we can just stop it if we don't want to overuse it to pay for the service. Another thing you can set up is you can click on your username upright, click on the billing and cost management. So, and here you can click this create budget button. And after that, it provides you some templates where you can just set up for something like, if I spend for $1, I will receive an email. The notification should be good for you to understand how much you spend. But I think the free tier version is free for 12 months after you sign up. So here we go through all the steps to set up an AWS account using the EC2 server. And we also set up a JupyterLab server for us to remote login using the IP address. And finally, we use the VS Code for us to SSH into the system. So the VS Code provides a very convenient IDE for the developers to rest hosts on the machine. Basically, these are all the three major things of this episode. If you feel like you learned something from this video, consider to subscribe, and I will continue to upload videos like this. So I will see you in the next video.